Today, I will talk about the science of muscle hypertrophy and help you understand how muscles grow. Muscle hypertrophy, which leads to muscle growth, is a key goal for many fitness enthusiasts and athletes. In this video, we'll explore the anatomy of muscles, the mechanisms of muscle hypertrophy, and the factors that influence muscle growth, which is a key goal for many fitness enthusiasts and athletes. First off, anatomy of muscle. To understand muscle hypertrophy, let's start by exploring the basic anatomy of muscle. Our muscles are made up of individual muscle fibers that work together to generate force and produce movement. Muscle fibers are long cylindrical cells that contain smaller units called myofibrils. These myofibrils consist of overlapping protein filaments called actin and myosin, which slide past each other to produce muscle contractions. This happens when electrical signals are sent from the brain, and with intense exercise it can damage the muscle, which leads to the body rebuilding it bigger and stronger than before. This is muscle hypertrophy. It is also important to note that muscles are composed of different types of muscle fibers, including slow twitch and fast twitch fibers. Slow twitch fibers are better suited for endurance activities like running, while fast twitch fibers are responsible for generating explosive power, which is what you train when you're lifting weights. Now that we have a basic understanding of muscle anatomy, let's explore the mechanisms behind muscle hypertrophy. Muscle hypertrophy refers to the increase in size and volume of muscle fibers. It occurs when the rate of muscle protein synthesis exceeds the rate of muscle protein breakdown. The primary mechanism behind muscle hypertrophy is mechanical tension. When we engage in resistance training, the mechanical tension placed on our muscles stimulates a cascade of cellular responses. This mechanical tension triggers a process called muscle protein synthesis, where the body synthesizes new muscle proteins to repair and rebuild the damaged muscle. Over time, this leads to an increase in muscle size and strength. However, mechanical tension alone is not enough for optimal muscle growth. Adequate nutrition, specifically a calorie surplus and sufficient protein intake, is essential to support the muscle building progress. By combining progressive overload in our training and providing the necessary building blocks through nutrition, we can maximize our gains when achieving muscle hypertrophy. Now let's talk about factors influencing muscle hypertrophy. One crucial factor for muscle hypertrophy is progressive overload. To stimulate muscle growth, it's important to progressively challenge your muscles over time. This can be achieved by gradually increasing the weight, reps, or sets of your exercises. Another factor to consider is training intensity, volume, and frequency. Higher training intensity, which refers to the level of effort exerted during each set, can stimulate greater muscle fiber recruitment and activation. Training volume, on the other hand, refers to the total amount of work performed in a training session or a week. Balancing volume with proper recovery is crucial for optimizing muscle growth. Frequency obviously plays a role too. Training a muscle group multiple times a week can provide more opportunities for growth, but be sure to allow enough recovery time between sessions. Consuming a calorie surplus provides the necessary energy for muscle growth. Protein intake is particularly important as it supplies the building blocks required for muscle to repair and grow. Now that we understand the factors influencing muscle hypertrophy, let's explore some effective training strategies to promote muscle growth. To optimize muscle hypertrophy, it's important to vary your training stimuli. This can include manipulating variables such as rep ranges, tempo, rest periods, and exercise selection. Implementing both compound and isolation exercises can also be very beneficial. Compound exercises are great for overall muscle activation and strength building, while isolation exercises are great for targeting specific muscles. Lastly, don't underestimate the significance of rest and recovery. Proper sleep, hydration, and managing stress are vital for muscle repair and growth. Now, let's talk about genetic factors and individual differences. While we can all make progress in building muscle, it's important to recognize that genetics play a role in our muscle building potential. Some individuals may naturally have bigger muscles, while others may face certain limitations. However, it's important to remember that everyone can make significant improvements through consistent training and proper nutrition regardless of their genetic makeup. Unless you want to be in the top 1% of bodybuilders, you shouldn't let your genetics limit you. Individual differences also come into play. Factors such as age, sex, hormone levels, and overall health can affect how individuals respond to training stimuli and experience muscle hypertrophy. Understanding and accepting your unique genetic factors and individual differences can help you set realistic goals and tailor your approach to muscle building accordingly. Now that we've covered the essential science and factors related to muscle hypertrophy, let's explore some practical tips to help you maximize your muscle building potential. Firstly, prioritize proper form and technique in your exercises. Maintaining proper form not only minimizes the risk of injury, but also ensures that you target the intended muscle groups effectively. Tracking your progress is crucial for optimizing muscle hypertrophy. Keep a workout journal or use a smartphone app to record your exercises, weights, and repetition. This allows you to monitor your progress and make necessary adjustments. Don't underestimate the power of consistency. Consistently following a structured training program, maintaining proper nutrition, and allowing adequate rest and recovery time will yield better long-term results. Lastly, listen to your body, pay attention to signs of fatigue, overtraining, or injury. It's important to find the right balance between pushing your limits and allowing your body to recover and adapt. By implementing these practical tips, you'll be well on your way to maximizing muscle hypertrophy and achieving your muscle building goals. If you found this video helpful, check out some of my other videos.